Okay, so good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here, and thank you for the invitation. Let me introduce myself. I'm Monforte. I am the Managing Director of the Cybersecurity Agency of Catalonia, and I am the former Chief of Communications of the agency, in which where we developed this strategy. So I will explain our journey and how we approach to have a new strategy to manage cybercrisis, how we spread it across our region in Catalonia, and I will explain you how we work from artificial intelligence to human intelligence in our strategy. So first of all, I want to take a look in our environment, in the world where we are living in. So we are living in a world with rapidity. We are living in a world with rapidity because of the digital transformation. Fortunately, our world is taking care more and more of our beloved ones, and our environment in our world is trying to grow, and we have to do it in a green way. But these are all positive assets, but we have also some threats. I will just take 3 examples of threats. So if I ask you who or what can stop operationally an airport, maybe some climate problems, maybe some physical issues, maybe a power outage. But the most possible way to stop an airport is suffering a cyber attack. Suffering a cyber attack, according to some open sources, is more or less 30% of probabilities to suffer a cyber attack on an airport. But if we take a look in some other issues that an airport can suffer, for example, a bird strike, it's more or less at 0.02% of closing or disrupting the operations in an airport due to a bird strike or due to a hole in the middle of the runway. If we take a look, we ask ourselves who or what can stop operationally a public service, maybe some problems inside the government, maybe some demonstrations, but also, again, cyber attacks, cyber issues, cybersphere can stop operationally a public service. This is a real situation that Morocco is facing nowadays. They suffered 3 weeks ago a major cyber attack in their social department, so nobody can have access to their health data and social services and social data. And the last one, who can generate chaos at the public transport service? A person who decides to throw themselves to the platforms, or again, a cyber attack. So this is a real case. Occurred last year in London. So one of the things that we have to think about it is that when we are thinking about threats, more and the most of these threats will be about cybersecurity. But maybe someone can think, okay, Ivan tried the 3 right examples to have clear this idea about cybersecurity issues. But if we go to another sources like NATO, this is the security landscape for 2025 from NATO, and they identify 6 main challenges. And we saw that one of these challenges is the cyber attacks. But if we take a look deep into this each one of these challenges, we saw that the cyber sphere is inside of each challenge. So we can affirm that everything is cybersecurity, and cybersecurity is the challenge of the challenges. And this is very important because when we saw that the major probability to disrupt your operational service, the major threat in terms of security is cyber, and when you go and you find different sources from economic perspective. For example, this is from PricewaterhouseCoopers. They launch a survey to 100,000 CEOs, and 1 out of 3 CEOs identifies that suffering a cyber attack is worse for them and for their companies than suffering economic issues. So we have 3 phases. The first one is the probability to have operational problems due to cybersecurity. The second one is, in terms of security, cybersecurity is the challenge of the challenges, and in terms of economics, cybersecurity is also the challenge of the challenges. And this is very important because when we have to define strategies in our companies or in our institutions, we must have clear that cybersecurity is a reputational, or can be a reputational problem, an economic problem, a security problem, an operational problem. And if you have it clear, you will be able to define a new way of managing crisis. So, okay, now we are in a crisis, and we analyze it. We did this analysis in 2024, when we suffered a major cyber attack in the second largest hospital here in Catalonia with more than 1 million patients. And we say, okay, we have a cyber, because we are talking about cyber. When we have a problem in cyber, suffering and stopping some operational department, we have an incident. But when this incident affects another part of your operation that is the main core of your business, as a private company, for example, you have a crisis. And you can't manage an incident or a crisis just with the capabilities that you can have to manage a cyber incident. I will explain an example. If you are a hospital and you suffer a ransomware attack and you are unable to access to the clinical database, you don't have a cyber issue. You don't have an IT issue. You have an operational issue. You have a problem to your, in this case, your patients, not clients. So you need to manage this situation according to these rules, and the rules of a reputational and services problems, not applying the rule if it was only a cyber problem. And which kind of tools do we have or can we have in order to tackle this issue and this challenge in order to manage a cyber crisis instead of a cyber incident? The communication. And I will explain you why. This is some theorics about communication. So we have a message that is sent by a sender to a receiver using a code, that is the language, by a channel, okay? In media channel, digital channels, a physical channel. But we have an important aspect to analyze: the environment, the landscape, the context in which the communication will happen. And this is very important, and as I said at the start of the session, this is why we decided to move from AI to HI, because there's no artificial intelligence able to analyze specifically the right context of the situation that can be analyzed from human intelligence. This is 2 real examples, just to explain the importance of the context. This one is an example from the Starbucks company. The marketing team, when they are deciding where they will be putting the logo, they thought that the logo will be put in the van. But this isn't the real context. The real context is the door of the van. Because if they thought that the logo will be put and stick it at the door of the van, they will put 2 logos, one on the van, on the door, and another logo here. And they won't fail. So they didn't analyze the right context of the message where they want to be publishing it. And this is another real example. These are two separate ads, two separate publications, designed by two different marketing teams, but they don't thought about the real context that the ad will be published. And finally, they obtain a different result than they are expecting to. And the other part that is very important to have clear, to keep in mind if you want to define the best strategy to manage crisis. To choose the right client, the right receiver of your message. Okay, so this is a supermarket. These are the cookies area, and this family is trying to buy cookies package. If you are the marketing team and you need to decide which kind of design you will be putting in your package, you have to think, or the theory said, the client is who pay. Who will be paying? The mother. If you design your cookies package thinking that the real client is the mother, this company will fail in 3 months because they won't sell any cookie because the real client in this case are the child. So you need to analyze very good and very precisely which kind of client you will be communicating and addressing to. Okay, so we analyze, and we say that suffering a cyber attack is not just a matter of IT or technical problems. It's a matter of economics and reputations. So, and we have the communication as an asset to change the way that we tackle and manage the crisis. So, how we did it? First of all, it's very important to know who you are and which assets do you have. So we are the Cybersecurity Agency of Catalonia. We have the competence and the charge to rule directly the cybersecurity for the whole government and the public administration inside Catalonia. We need to provide a public cybersecurity service to help citizens and private companies. We need to enhance the cybersecurity ecosystem and economic sector. And we have to boost a cybersecurity culture through awareness and traineeship. These are some figures of our activity. These are 2023 figures. We are updating it from the 2024 year exercise. So we are suffering and we are managing one cyber attack every 4 hours. So this means that every 4 hours we activate our protocol to manage a crisis. And I will explain which protocol do we have. And this is our scope of action. So we have running the whole cybersecurity for the government, 24 relevant departments, more than 2,200 information systems, and more than 220,000 users. And our areas of action is the health, the universities, the local, and the research institutions. So, analyzing this landscape, this environment, we decided to change the way how we manage the crisis. Okay? So, when we manage in the past the incident, we applied this IRP. So, when we analyze the impact, we did it from CERT point of view. So our CERT receive a call or a notification, they activate it, and they start to analyzing and to developing, reporting the incident from the regional CERT to the national CERT. They define and they apply the isolation and disruption plan, and then they close the incident. But as I said, we are, in our case, we are a cybersecurity agency. We are not only a CERT. We have more capabilities than the response team. So we analyze it, which kind of capabilities we have as an agency to be applied on a managing of a cyber crisis and a cyber incident. So this is when the cyber incident starts. we have the operational capabilities, we have the technological capabilities, but we have also legal awareness and innovation capabilities, and we have two pillars of managing that guides the managing of our strategy. The relationship between the ecosystem and how we involve them in each of our cyber attacks, and then the communication. So we change our IRP. So when we received a notification from a cyber attack, we analyze the impact not from the third point of view, we analyze it from the affected services, if there's public or citizen services that will be affected. So this is more business-oriented analysis than technical-oriented analysis. Then, when we report the incident, communication team and the general manager of the agency add the storytelling inside of the reporting. We are used to send technical reports with IOCs, but we decide to put our storytelling inside of this report. And I will explain you why. We've been facing that media, when they know that there's a cyber attack, they decide to call the sources. If I send this report without a storytelling to the national CERT or to our ecosystem database, what will happen? The media will call them, and they will call their storytelling, not my storytelling. And I am the owner of the crisis. So I have to be the owner of the strategy and the storytelling of the incident. And this is why we decided to put this storytelling inside this, because when the national CERT or the ecosystem entities that receive this report, they don't have to explain their own storytelling. They will explain our storytelling. And it's very important in terms of communication, because like in football, if you have the ball, you control the ball. If you don't have the ball, you have to take 2 steps to take the ball to your contrary and then control it. So it's easier, faster, and more efficient to have directly the ball. Then we start deploying a backup and alternative technology in order to recover the services, at least as a backup for this situation. We did it also collaborating with the ecosystem. We can be faster when we deploy a backup strategy if we speak with our technological partners, with the cybersecurity ecosystem, and all the ecosystem in Catalonia, because we have more capabilities if we act all together. Then we apply the isolation and disruption plan. It is mainly 100% an operation done by our CERT and our IOP team. And then, when we are close to close the incident, we decide to make an awareness campaign. We always say that the next cyber attack is starting to happen when you are closing your cyber attack that you are dealing with at this moment. In the case of the hospital, we saw that they stole 4.5 terabytes of medical data, but they have also data from the workers of the hospital and the patients and the providers. So we decide to make an awareness campaign addressed to the employees, saying, hey, you probably will receive in 2, 3, 4, 5 months an email saying that it's your bank, giving you all the numbers of your account, and asking you to click here to update the information. And if you are a worker of this hospital and you receive an email with a right data of your bank, you will click. So we decided to say, in that case, in that ransom, they stole us your bank data. Please don't click any link, despite the email contains all the right data about your data bank. Please call to your bank double check with them if they are sending this email, and then if they agree, you can click it. So this is something, let's say, easy, but very effective. Because we are used to close the incident when the technical issue was solved. And now we are changing our way to change the incident. And we change it when we did an awareness campaign to all the different targets of this attack. And then we try to apply some different or innovative ways to manage or to deal with this situation. At least this new IRP is, let's say, an innovation. It's a process innovation, but it's innovation. It's just to analyze how you can be doing this better than you've been doing in the past. So I've been talking about the case of the hospital clinic. So we defined this strategy during the event of this cyber attack. So this cyber attack completely blacked out the hospital. They have to cancel all the surgeries. The ambulances has to be diverted to the nearby hospitals. We received a call on a midday on a Sunday, and we decided to analyze all the situation. And then, because of the 100% blackout of the hospital, we decided to hold a press conference, but not for the same day, not to be held on Sunday. And we scheduled it for the next day, for the Monday at 9 a.m. And we saw that that we have to act previous than waiting 14 hours. And why? Because media needs to publish some information. And if they need to publish some information, they will call, first of all, official sources. But if you don't have them the data or some update about the issue and the attack, they will call then to alternative data. And that's a huge problem, because they will start explaining their own storytelling. And this is what happened to us. And this is one of the major media groups in Catalonia, and they called to an alternative source. And the alternative source said, this is just a matter of hours. It will be recovered in hours. And the hacker group didn't steal any data. And we know that there's 4.5 terabytes of medical data stolen. So what happened to us? When we have to answer the call from this group and to say, this is completely false, we had a problem that it was published on Sunday evening. And we confirmed them, and we say that there's a matter of weeks and months to recover the 100% of the services on Monday morning. So every person that read or listen this information, every one of us construct our own idea of the situation. And the situation is just, okay, it's a simple attack. It's not a major, it's not a unicorn, it's not a major problem. When we hold the press conference, we have to affirm and confirm that it's a major cyber attack, that it's a matter of months to recover the services, and the media asks us, how is it possible? Because on Sunday, you have the situation under control, as this source said. But now, 14 or 20 hours later, you are saying that it's a major cyber attack. What had happened? And we have to ask to explain them that this is published from alternative sources. And again, we don't have the ball, we don't have the control, we have a problem. And the best way to have the ball and to have the control of the situation is to have a strategy, because we didn't receive calls from IT journalists. We received calls, in this case, from society and general journalists. So this is the way and how we also understood that when we are suffering a cyber attack, it's not a matter just of cyber. it's a matter of a society matter, an economic matter, a business matter. So this is why we define this new protocol. Okay, so this is how we act. We decided to start scheduling the first meeting of the crisis cabinet. We decided to make it appealing to the collaboration. We need to know the extent of the situation. It is very important. When we talk about communication and access to the information, is not to be published. It's to have the 100% part of the history in order to be able to define the best strategy to manage the crisis. Then, we need to know how the technical team works. It is very important, because when you are defining a strategy, you need to give to your team confidence. Otherwise, they won't trust in you. So we need to understand how they work in order to understand their pains, which is their behavior, which is the different phases that they will be deploying this situation, in order to have the best strategy to manage this situation. Then it's very important also to know the media. As I said, the media has to publish information, so if they don't have the information from the official sources, they will go to the alternative sources. And then we are able to define our communication plan. But in our case, we don't trust in AI, in that case. We completely, 100% trust in HI, in human intelligence. Because we need, the best capability that we need in this phase is the ability to understand the right situation and the right context of the crisis. Otherwise, we will be deploying some different strategies that in the theoretical part will be very good. They will fit 100% on the tutorial, but you will fail because you are not applying on the right context that you are facing with. So this is, let me go. This is our internal IRP. This is how we are acting now when we suffer and we manage a cyber incident and a cyber crisis. And then we decided we need to explain to all of our, let's say, clients, in our case, in the Cybersecurity Agency of Catalonia, or all the public departments, all the public institutions in Catalonia, in order to explain them, okay, we know how we have to act, and now you also know how do you have to act, and how do you have to relate with us. So we have some tips about identifying the severity of the incident, some tips if it's a serious incident or if it's another type of incident. But the notification part, the coordination of the incident, but the most important part and the most innovative process in this new protocol is applying the communications coordination. And when the crisis cabinet is meeting, communication will be at the crisis cabinet and meeting. Because it's the only way to have the same access than the IT and the technical teams and the managing teams and capabilities to be able to define the best strategy to be deployed in each case. So we try to make it easier as possible, and we define who will be on the crisis committee and who will be in the communications and institutional committee. And communication is in these two committees. But we decided to spread it in the 100. We have 1,000 public entities in Catalonia, a part of the regional government departments, and we send it to all the 1,000 public entities in Catalonia in order to say, okay, if you are suffering a cyber attack, please do it. Do this. Apply this protocol. Notify us. Identify, notify, and don't do anything. Please don't communicate. Start, call us, and we will define the best way to communicate it. And this is very important because it allows us to define the strategy management based on communication capabilities to manage the crisis from the very initial moment of the attack, in order to avoid some mistakes that we did in the past. And we did from communication because it is the capability more close to the reputational part and then to the business. Because nowadays, when you are suffering a cyber attack, you won't have to explain only to your IT team and to your management capabilities. You will have to explain this, how is impacting in your business. So the storytelling will be addressed to your clients, to your founders. It will be more about revenue, preventing losses, market quotation, than cyber and technical issues. But it will be occurred and made from a cyber problem. So this is very important, and this is how we decided to define this strategy, because we saw that when we are facing a cyber attack, it's not a matter only of IT, it's a matter of business, it's a matter of reputation, and we saw that communication and reputational capabilities is the best asset that we have to define and to lead this strategy. So I think this is all. Thank you very much. I think that we have the opportunity or the possibility to have some questions, so please feel free to ask anything. Thank you very much.
Hola. Gracias por la presentación. Thank you for the presentation. I understand that you have a duty to preserve the reputation of public institutions, but also you haven't addressed the main responsibility of any public institution, which is towards the people, the public that enjoys the public institutions. I understand while you're handling political issues and business issues, because there's also a front trying to disrepute the public sector. I understand that you have to do that, but there is a bigger responsibility in my view, which is well, you have to talk to the public, and you didn't address that here, no? And
we did. Okay, I can use the presentation, but we did when we have a notification of a cyber incident. We analyze the incident and we define if it's a crisis or if it's an incident. If it's a crisis, we activate this strategy and this protocol, and then we decide in which part of the crisis we will be publishing and communicating to our clients, let's say the departments, the internal departments, the IT departments, for example, and to the citizens. And it is depend on the public services affected, because if there's only a website affected, we had, and this is why we also decide to refuse using AI to define this strategy, because we have this major attack to the hospital that is classified as a unicorn, or let's say as a major attack, okay? 4 months later, we suffer also a major cyber attack that is affecting the website where there is the bank account in which, here in Catalonia, people, before renting a house, they have to pay 2 months advance to a regional institution. Okay, so the website of this institution, in which there is the bank account to do this payment, was classified as a SIC. Okay, if we automatized our strategy to manage the crisis, and if this crisis is a major cyber attack because it's affecting a SIC, we will be having a press conference, and we will be, let's say, spreading a chaos problem when it's only a website. So people, maybe during 48 hours or at worst, maybe 1 week, they won't be able to put the money in this bank account because they don't have the access to the bank account number. So this is not a major cyber attack, despite it was targeting a SIC. So this is why we define not to communicate, just to say this website is down for 48 hours or for the time that it's needed to recover it, but we didn't decide to host a press conference, not publishing any press release, and so on. So this is very important to analyze the real context, because in terms of IT of cyber, this is the same situation. It's a major cyber attack. But the real situation and the real service affected, it's very focused on a sector or on a market. So you don't need to deploy all your communication capabilities, because you won't achieve the contrary result that you are trying to obtain.
Thank you. Another thing that I wanted to know is what lessons were learned from the attack of the clinic, and for instance, did you develop any kind of indicators that, or changes in procedures that?
We changed the procedure in which we managed the incident, and we managed it from a crisis and not from an incident, because the services affected are not only IT, are part of the business of the hospital. So we changed this strategy, we adopt this strategy, but we don't have any problem on the technical protocol and process. So our CERT team is doing the same thing that they are doing in the past. This is saying, CERT, please do the same, because you are very good, reputed in this sector. But I can put all the pressure only on the CERT team. We, as an agency, need to put the pressure on the reputational part, because it's a matter of business, it's not a matter of IT. So why I'm transferring the pressure to the IT team? So they apply the same thing and the same protocol. They analyze it, which is the origin of the attack with the hospital. They fix it, but the zero risk doesn't exist.
Yeah,
okay, so you will be managing. This is not only talking about how our CERT team is doing different things different. It's how we manage the situation on a different way in order to preserve your business.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, I didn't explain myself better. But my point had to do with change of behavior. We know ransom attack, the weakest link is the user. So did you detect any changes in or deploy any strategy to change the behavior?
We decide, at that moment, the moment the hospitals, they have the competencies to rule their own cybersecurity solutions and policies, and we decided to be ruling the cybersecurity for all the hospitals in Catalonia, we as a cybersecurity agency. So this is one of the major changes that we did in that situation. Okay, so I think, there's another question.
Yeah, just a quick question. I suppose that from the agency, there's a responsibility in some public entities, and you're taking care of the good matters and the behaviors that they have, right? So I would want to understand, where is the limit? Because I suppose you don't take care of all of the processes that they do in these public entities, no? Or at least you put the guidelines. But I want to understand, where is the line that limits the responsibility of this public entity or this private entity and agency in order to put these guidelines of how they need to work, no? When is the point that says, okay, now it's part of the agency, now it's part of the entity, no? Thank you.
Just to make it easier, inside the regional government, so the ministries of the regional government, we have 100% responsibility to rule and 100% of the competencies to manage a cyber crisis. Applying, ruling, running, defining, doing awareness. At the other in public institutions is responsibility of the public institution, and in the private sector we don't have competencies to neither run the cybersecurity of the private sector nor helping them to solve an incident. We can help the public institutions when they suffer an incident, and we can take the lead of the situation and the crisis. But if it's a private sector that is affected by a cyber attack, they have to go to a national body, to CC and CERT. Okay, so thank you very much. I'm sorry.
I've got a question from the back here.
Okay.
Will Davis from Endava, a global software development company. We've recently done a tabletop exercise around crisis management, and I was wondering what your view is, because it created quite a bit of debate on boilerplate communications or off-the-shelf communications, and whether you would recommend it or recommend just playing what's in front of you.
Personally, I am very used to do tabletop exercises. Last year, I did more than 10, collaborating with the UN and some national governments. And what they saw it is that they need to increase their capabilities in terms of communication and strategical communication inside of their agencies and bodies in charge of the cybersecurity. Because we've been seeing that it's not only the threat is not only a cybersecurity and an IT affected service. They are seeing, and we are seeing that deepfakes, fake news are also part of the cyber or ethic of the IT. So we decided to analyze how we can put inside the strategy to solve a crisis, an incident, and a cyber attack, using the communication capabilities. And they are now changing their strategies to do it. And using tabletop exercises is a very good option to identify your weaknesses and your points to make it better when you are facing the next cyber attack or the cyber crisis. Okay, so I think it's time. Okay, thank you very much.